Good day to one and all. My name is Ila Marie Roshana, and I am here to tackle about the ecoliteracy and sustainable development and ecologically literate person and society. Ecoliteracy on sustainable development aims to understand how society operates within natural systems. So an example of this are schools that include field trips to local parks and nature reserves to teach students about local plants and animals. So, according to David Orr of 1992, he argued that excluding ecological perspectives in our education or in our curriculum renders them unimportant. Why? Because without ecology lessons, without the lessons we retain knowledge from, students may not learn the importance of recycling, leading to more waste and environmental pollution. Like nowadays, there are a lot of garbage here in the streets or in the slums. Orr and Capra of 1990 introduced ecological literacy. They emphasized the interdependence of natural systems and human life. So people are learning about the importance of nature, like bees, for example. They are learning the importance of bees for pollination, and that is why we are supporting local beekeepers by buying their honey, because it is, yes, natural. So the purpose and benefits of being ecologically literate is to promote the ability to maintain the health of living systems, and that is very important. So an example of this is using reusable bags and bottles to reduce plastic waste and protect wildlife or marine life if you're going fishing, and wildlife if you're going camping, right? So second one is to understand the ecosystem organization to sustain life. So by planting trees in urban areas, we can improve the air quality and provide habitats for birds and insects. Yes. So sustainability. This is surviving over time with qualitative and quantitative ecological capacity. So an example of this is our example in our STS subject. So using energy efficient appliances that lower electricity consumption and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So like for example, in our discussion, we tackled about the coal being used as something that will conduct the electricity. So instead of using coal, we should instruct the ones that are working in the electric institutions that we should use solar or energies that will reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So about the sustainability as well, we are to operate within the ecosystem's carrying capacity. So kung unsay kaya lang, limiting water usage during droughts by fixing leaks and using water-saving fixtures to ensure there's enough water for everyone. So we have seen a lot of advocacy videos already, right? So, and we are now fully aware, we are well aware of the increase of heat and index here in the Philippines or here in our Earth that we are living in. Thus, we should do what we have to do in order for us to operate within the ecosystem's carrying capacity. Kung unsay kaya sa ecosystem, we should be able to help out, because not only them are gonna be helped out by us, they are helping us as well as the consumers, right? So challenges and solutions. We receive harm from ecological illiteracy. Why? An example of this is our discussion as well in SCS over using fertilizers in home gardens without understanding the runoff that can harm the nearby water system or rivers and lakes. So we should rethink about the cultural assumptions and develop new capacities. So, like, we should start a community garden, let us grow local food, local plants, and we should reduce reliance on store-bought product or any produce that requires long distance transportation, because we know about the pollution that is happening already, right? It is too much for us, too much for the produces as well. So the ultimate goal here is to design sustainable ways of living. So by implementing recycling programs at home, we can reduce our waste and promote resource reuse. So we should remember the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. We already learned that in our elementary school and here as well. So the next topic is about the ecologically literate person and society. So what is an ecologically literate person? He or she understands the principles of ecological community organization and applies them to our community and to create something, right? Not only learn, but to create something. So he or she can grasp interdependence and interconnectedness within living systems. Translates ecological understanding into actions that minimizes negative effects on life-sustaining systems. And we should aim to maximize our valuable contribution so that we and our future generations can have that advantage as well while we are still living. So like, for example, a person who chooses to bike or walk instead of driving for short trips to reduce their carbon footprint. That is one example. We can have lesser pollution in that already. Another example is we should understand that that in local farms, pesticides have harmful benefits as well. Oh no, disadvantages, because it does not control the garden pests naturally because it's using something, right? It's using something. And then for our homes, in our kitchen, we should have a compost bin for our kitchen scraps to reduce landfill waste and create nutrient-rich soil for gardening. And that is very helpful. So next is about ecologically literate society. So a sustainable society does not harm the natural environment. So we should avoid that, right? We should help our society to avoid anything that can harm our environment. Like cities implementing recycling programs and providing bins to residents. Let us encourage proper waste management, not only in our cities, but here in our schools as well. We are encouraging students to clean as we go. And then in the neighborhoods, we are tasked by Purok, right? We are tasked to have community gardens, and we are providing fresh produce, promote diversity, and bring people together, because, you know, when there are Purok stuff, we gather people so that they can have meeting with each other. And not only in our Puroks, but within our schools as well, we should have meetings, participate in environmental conservation projects like the one that is being told by us, by our, seniors. So in order for us to be this literate, ecologically literate, let us not limit ourselves to learning what we read in books, because we should not. We should immerse ourselves in being a sustainable part of the earth, right? Now let's go out and apply our learnings to our nature so that we can have a better tomorrow together. That would be all for my topic. I hope you understand.
Good day to each and everyone. I am Jalisa Gaiga, and today I will be the next to report about ways to develop ecoliteracy in schools and the 7 environment principles of nature. But before that, please allow me to glance at my copy in front of me, and behind me will be my PowerPoint presentation, which summarizes all my report for today. Okay, so before I proceed to my discussion proper, let us first recall about what is ecoliteracy. So ecoliteracy is the understanding, or it refers to the understanding and taking care of the environment. Ecoliteracy involves being aware of the ecological issues we have today, especially the climate change, and taking actions that protects the environment. Ecoliteracy helps us develop our sense of responsibility, and as well as it also promotes sustainable living practices. Okay, so now let's start. First, I'm going to tackle about the ways to develop ecoliteracy in schools. So there is a growing importance of fostering learning that prepares young people for the ecological challenges of our time. Thus, the goal is to raise students with important perspective called socially and emotionally engaged ecoliteracy, an approach that helps combat feelings of fear, anger, and hopelessness caused by not taking action for the environment. Thus, educators use age-appropriate practices to promote socially and emotionally engaged ecoliteracy from pre-kindergarten to adulthood, enhancing cognitive and emotional abilities through the integration of emotional, social, and ecological intelligences. Okay, so basically, ecoliteracy is very important, and sa mga eskwelahan nga naatakan, especially sa mga state universities, and especially to the current generations we have today, a lot of teachers and educators are already giving emphasis about ecoliteracy because it is very important, especially in the life of a student, na makatunan sa usa ka estudyante, even ang kanang mga younger ones which are in pre-kindergarten pa, nga makatun sila about ecoliteracy. And that's why today I will be discussing the ways to develop ecoliteracy in schools. And these ways are not only limited to us adults, but as well as to the pre-kindergarten students or the younger generations. Okay, so first we have here number one, develop empathy for all life forms. So by recognizing shared needs and showing genuine concern for their well-being. So a perfect example for this is this one. So a student learning about the importance of caring for bees. Like for example, when a student knows the importance of bees in our biodiversity, of course, you are more likely going to respect bees, right? Because bees are really important and they play a pivotal role in our environment, especially in maintaining the balance. So, by understanding that bees play a crucial role in pollination and food production, the student develops empathy for bees. And because of that, that student will be prompted to take action to protect their habitats. Second is to embrace community sustainability. So, how can we embrace community sustainability? It is by understanding the interdependence of plants, animals, and living things. We foster cooperative actions within communities. So, an example for this, if we are given a school project, let's say a cleanup drive, students, we learn how plants, insects, and soil interact with each other to create a sustainable ecosystem and how they will be affected if ever there will be a continuous rise of the garbages. So, by embracing ourselves or by exposing ourselves sa mga inaning classes of problems sa community, no, makahuna-huna ta nga ang plants, animals, and other species nga nasa palibot nato, mga living things, are all connected to each other. So, if we know and we have the knowledge about these things, how these things are connected to each other, no, it helps us better appreciate the living things around us. These foster a sense of responsibility and, of course, cooperation within the community. Okay, of course, by exposing ourselves to that certain issue, no, we are setting an example po sa whole community. Next is number 3, make invisible visible. So what does this mean? So if we strive to develop ways of living that are more life-affirming, we must find ways to make the invisible visible, and that is by using technology. As we all know, sa karon we are really blessed because nag-improve ta, dagan kitag improvement, especially because of technology. So we can use, for example, Google Earth. So kaning Google Earth is the same as Google Map, pwede nimo makita ang mga areas like for example kanang mga areas nga barren nga daghang mga trees nga nangaputol or daghang mga trees nga na-cut down because hinihinay na nga gi-occupy sa population. So makita na siya sa Google Earth. And by that, they will be aware of the environmental issues that may seem distant. Alright, so now let's proceed to number 4. Anticipate unintended consequences by teaching strategies like the precautionary principle and adopting a system thinking perspective to analyze interconnected problem components. For example, in a science experiment, where students are told to investigate. So student will investigate the effects of using pesticides on plants. So they will discuss how the precautionary principle involves considering potential harm to environment and human health before taking actions that could have negative consequences. We all know nga pesticides are very helpful sa farmers. Kay dili jud manikayan nga ang mga crops nga ginatanong nila is kung anong dyan siya og mga sapat. And then, ang result ana is apektado ang ani, ang quality sa product na ilang produce. And that's why na mga pesticides para mo help nga malasan na nga kanang mga mukaon sa ilahang mga crops. So, sa pesticides, maayo siya in a way nga maka-help siyang produce og good quality nga mga crops. Well, on the other hand, ang pesticides can also be harmful. Dili lang mismo sa soil kay pwede niya nga maapektuhan ang quality sa soil or as well as ang ato apod nga health, human health. Kay of course we are consumers man of the products nga diba gina-produce ato mga farmers. So ang kani siya nga point is dapat i-consider kuno nato ang mga consequences, the pros and cons sa mga things nga ato ang ginahimo, especially ang mga certain actions nga we think na makahelp sa environment. So number 5 and the last point, it is understanding how nature sustains life. Okay, so understanding how nature sustains life is by learning from nature's complexity and interconnectedness, recognizing systems at different scales, and practicing a way of life that supports present and future generations. Ecoliterate people learn from nature that all living organisms are complex and interconnected that inhabit a particular place for survival. So when we say ang ecoliterate ka nga usa ka tawo, you learn, kabalo ka, and you have the awareness na tanan nga mga living organisms sa palibot are complex. What we know about that certain living thing may not be the overall idea. Second is that ecoliterate people tend to be more aware that systems exist on various levels of scale. Like for example, bees. If aware ta unsay purpose sa bees and aware ta unsa nga mga klase nga systems ang naa sila, ang mga manners nga naa sila, ang ilang character, ma-appreciate nato na sila nga mga living things. Third is that ecoliterate people collectively practice a way of life that fulfills the needs of the present generation while simultaneously supporting nature's inherent ability to sustain life in the future. So, mao ni siya ang gina-emphasize sa number 5 nga point nga we need to understand how nature sustains life. Okay, once we know and once we're aware about the purpose of every little thing around us, it will allow us to realize nga we should be more careful sa pag-handle ani nga mga things because we all know that everything is limited ra. Okay, so that's it. Next, we are going to proceed to the 7 environment principles of nature.
Alright, so now let's move on to the 7 environment principles of nature. So the following are basic environmental principles of ecosystem adapted from Barry Commoner cited in Butler 2012. The first principle is nature knows best. People need to understand and have to abide by the rules it imposes. In essence, one must not go against the natural processes if he or she would like to ensure a continuous and steady supply of resources. So this first principle highlights that following nature's rules ensures a stable environment with enough resources for everyone. Respecting and working in harmony with nature leads to sustainability and a healthier planet. The second principle is all forms of life are important. Each organism plays a fundamental role in nature, Therefore, all living things must be considered as invaluable instruments in maintaining balance in the ecosystem. This second principle highlights the idea that each living creature plays a pivotal role in maintaining a balanced ecosystem, that every little thing we see around us is a part of the ecosystem and is worthy of our respect. That's why valuing every organism helps preserve biodiversity and the delicate web of life on Earth.
Okay, so now let's move on to the third environment principle of nature. And the third one is everything is connected to everything else. So balik-balik na ni siya. In an ecosystem, all components interact with each other to ensure that the system is sustainable, of which any outside interference may result in an imbalance and deterioration of this system. So, ang dili nga principle, gina-emphasize ra diri, just like what I have said earlier, na everything around us is interconnected. So, what may affect the first one may affect the other one nga living thing because lagi interconnected ang tanan. So, every time nga naay mga interference or like for example we humans, we try to like invade ta sa dapat hinimuan na sa nature, dapat ang nature ay mohimo. Of course, it may result to an imbalance and deterioration of the system. Number 4, everything changes. So people must rethink their relationship with the environment through relevant technologies for positive changes. So today in our current generation, no, daghan na kayo ang mga improvement because of technologies. And ang gina-emphasize or gina-point out ra ani nga principle is that wala ta gina-discourage nga dili ta mo gamit og technology but gina-encourage ta if possible since ga-change man ang world, no, everything changes ingon dire. So we should also allow and give chance nga gamiton ang technologies for in a positive way that will also be beneficial not just ato ang humans but also sa nature. Number 5, everything must go somewhere. So since waste may go back to one's own backyard in some other forms, it is important to become aware of the different types of waste, classify and segregate those waste that are toxic and potentially hazardous. When we know the right thing to do, we should do it. Nga dapat makatunan nato nga i-practice ang habit nga of course since we're not the only one nga live there is a world, no, we're all sharing the same world. So that's why we should also be fair, dapat maging equal po ta sa mga living things sa palibot nato, sa mga animals, sa mga plants nga dili ka istorya. Number 6, our earth is a finite earth. So when we say finite, it means na end, na limitation, no. So pareha sa ingon ako ganina nga basig abusive na ta kay sa nature, nga nakalimot na ta nga naday end tanan. Then last, we have nature is beautiful and we are stewards of God's creation. So being the most intelligent and being gifted with reason, humans are capable of controlling and taking care of the creation of their own advantage in order for us to have a more sustainable and healthier environment. So I think that concludes my report and I hope you learned something from my discussion. So that would be all. Thank you so much for listening.
The Green School concept aims to create environmentally friendly and sustainable educational institutions that prioritizes environmental sustainability or responsibility, health, and wellness. Good day, everyone. I am Kate N. C. Saldua, and my report explores about the concepts and impacts and benefits of green schools on student learning, health, and environment. Towards a green school and education for sustainable development. Now, we all know that schools not only help students learn about academics, but also in environmental ethics. Thus, it helps students foster care for nature. But by including green initiatives in the curriculum and in everyday activities,
schools can encourage students to prioritize their health, their safety, and sustainability. This approach also instills a sense of belonging and responsibility towards the environment. Green School, the concept and background. Green School concept teaches us how to take care of our planet. It started in Europe a long time ago, in the 1990s in particular. People realized in that time that we need to learn about sustainability because our resources are not unlimited, meaning it is limited, and we should not abuse it, but using it wisely. That's the practical solution. So, the United Nations launched the Decade of Education for Sustainable Development. This means that schools all over the world are learning how to make the earth a better place for us and for the future generations. Green Schools and ESD. What does ESD mean, teacher? So ESD is or stands for Education for Sustainable Development. So the Green School, in a nutshell, is a concept dedicated to environmental sustainability, to protect our planet. It utilizes resources and opportunities effectively, and the people that are involved around it are teachers and community, and they work together to improve the school environment, fostering knowledge acquisition, life skills, and environmental sensitivity. The school ensures a safe, secure, and, of course, a supportive learning environment. Thank you and God bless.
Good day everyone, especially to Dr. Impeso. I am Jumpo Paer Tejada and I will be reporting two of the several subtopics of Module 10 entitled Ecoliteracy. So the first subtopic that I will be reporting is all about the essential aspects of the green school environment. So to begin with, the greenness of a school finds expression in various aspects of the environment. So the green school has, of course, clean, healthy, protective, and green surroundings. So this part is quite easy to understand. So the green school also promotes both the physical health. So when we say physical health, it refers to the well-being of the body in its proper functioning, and the psychosocial health of learners. So when we say psychosocial, it refers to the well-being of both the mind, which is the psychological health, and social interaction, so or the social health, and others in school. And also, the green school ensures, number one, a healthy provision of health services such as nutritional supplementation and counseling. And number two, hygienic. For example, safe drinking water, neat and clean classrooms, playground, and parks, and etc. And number three, safe learning environment with healthy practices. So, for example, a school free of drugs, corporal punishment, and harassment. And number four, a green school brings children closer to nature and involves them in taking care of it. So, what are its examples? So, for example, sa eskwelahan, ang mga bata kay gisugo sila or gi-engage sila sa mga tree planting activities, and pero like walgapan sila ga tree planting sila pud mo ay gipa alagaan na hangtod sa muda ko ang mga tanom. So, one example. So thus, a green school is a school that engages the school community, especially children, in critical thinking and learning by adopting participatory, practical, and collaborative approaches to work together and make the school environment healthier for students and staff by involving the whole community to work towards a sustainable future. So I think that my discussion is understandable. So to move on, a green school adheres to the following precepts. So number one, learning about the environment. So this perception It focuses mainly on the acquisition of knowledge and understanding of the surroundings and the related issues on the environment. So kani siya is ginatuduan na jud ang mga bata o mga information about the environment. For example, lessons, seminars, or symposium about climate change, pollution, and of course how these issues affects the environment as well as its effects to us humans. So kaning number one perception na learning about environment is merely focuses on learning na jud like ito do ng information. Another example of learning about the environment is students studying different ecosystems in their science class, learning about the various plants, animals, and their interrelationships with each other. So students might examine how ecosystems function, the impact of human activities on these systems in ways to protect and preserve them. So ginatuduan na jud sila ang mga information about the environment and the issues surrounding it. So number two is learning through the environment. So it refers to the processes of learning while being engaged with the environment outside and inside the classroom. So kung gaganiha ang learning about the environment, ginatuduan na sila mga information, kani siya sa learning through the environment is gi-engage na good ang mga estudyante sa environment para maka-learn sila. So, isang example aning learning through the environment. So, the best example is a class takes a field trip to a local nature reserve where students can observe wildlife and plant species and their natural habitats. So, they conduct experiments such as soil testing or water quality analysis to understand environmental processes firsthand. In the classroom, they might maintain a small garden to learn about plant growth cycles and the importance and sustainable agriculture. So I think na tanan-tanan kaagip na nino, especially sa elementary. So kung ganiha, ginatuloan ng mga information kani siya sa learning through the environment, ni-engage na good ang mga estudyante para maka-learn sila sa environment, meaning naka-experience sila firsthand. So number three, last but not least, is learning for the environment. So from the word for, so it aims at developing an informed response and responsibility towards the environment beyond acquisition of skills and knowledge. So for example, students participate in a community cleanup project, picking up litter in their local park and recycling what they collect. So this activity teaches them the importance of keeping their surrounding clean and the impact of waste on the environment. So students also engaged in campaigns to raise awareness about the different environmental issues, encouraging others to adopt eco-friendly practices. So meaning, so kani siya sa learning for the environment na gina-take o mga actions ang students to help mitigate the effects or avoid the different environmental issues surrounding the environment. So the second, let's move on to understanding green curriculum. So for a curriculum to be green, it must include the following aspects. So what are these aspects? So number one is the comprehensive view. So what is a comprehensive view? So in the comprehensive view, it covers scientific, social, economic, political, and technological topics related to the environment. So when we say scientific, examples is studying the effects of pollution on local ecosystems. So while in social, discussing how different cultures use natural resources. So in economic, example of this is analyzing the economic impact of renewable energy sources. In political, for example, debating policies related to climate change. So it focuses on politics. So in technological, learning about advancements and sustainable in technologies, like for example, solar panels. So many mga examples. So I hope understandable na number one, which is the comprehensive view. So the second key aspects of understanding the green curriculum is the holistic approach. So in a holistic approach, it considers the environment as everything around us, and it also helps students to understand how the world works, how human actions change it, and the resulting consequences. So for example, example of in holistic approach is, for example, a project that examines the life cycle of a product from raw material extraction to disposal, discussing how production and consumption affect the environment and the society. So ano na siya sa holistic approach. So number 3, the third key aspect of understanding the green curriculum is focus on sustainability. So it addresses the protection and conservation of natural resources, the cultural heritage, safety, security, health, sanitation, equity, justice, and the connections between natural, social, physical, and cultural environment. So for some examples of focus on sustainability. So example ani is, for example, some natural resources conducting a tree planting campaign to learn about conservation, and in cultural heritage, visiting a historical site to understand the importance of preserving cultural heritage. So in safety and security, learning about disaster preparedness and safety measures. So, sa health and sanitation, example, implementing a school-wide recycling program and educating students on hygiene practices. So, last, sa equity and justice, so for example, exploring case studies on environmental justice and discussing fair distribution of resources. So, muna siya but pasabot sa focus on sustainability. So, the fourth key aspect of understanding the green curriculum is the interactive learning. So, in interactive learning, students are given time and opportunities to explore different aspects of the environment and see how they are connected. So, some example ani. So, for example, students participate in a hands-on water quality testing activity in a nearby river, analyzing data and discussing findings in class. So very interactive, Joy. So and last but not least, very easy and the collaborative effort. So of course, both teacher and students work together on this curriculum. So meaning nagkinabangan na unity. So for example, is teachers and students co-develop a school garden with students planting and maintaining the garden, while teachers guide and integrate lessons on biology, ecology, and teamwork into the project. So very collaborative siya, so integrate pa siya sa school. Now let's move on to the second subtopic, which is creating a green school. So a green school is a school that creates a healthy environment conducive to learning, while saving energy, environmental resources, and money. So with this statement, we can conclude that therefore a green school is, number 1, reduces environmental impacts and costs, number 2, improves occupants' health and performance, and number 3, of course, it increases environmental and sustainability literacy. So, unsa man siya benefits sa green school? Nabati mo ko nga benefits? Yes, dagan sila benefits. So, one of the benefits of green school is, number 1, reduces environmental impacts and costs, which saves energy and resources and reduces waste and pollution. So, another benefit is green school improves health and performance, which creates a healthy environment that enhances learning and well-being of the students and of course the teacher. And also it increases environmental and sustainability literacy that educates students and staff about sustainability and environmental stewardship. So overall, a green school is an institution that not only teaches about the environment but also practices sustainability and involves or engage the entire school community in making the environment healthier and more sustainable. So this approach benefits both the planet and the people within the school. So as you can see, green school is a very good approach, or it is very important na i-integrate siya sa curriculum. So that will be all for my topic, and I really hope na manasabtan ra ang ako ang discussion. So again, I am John Popper Tejada, and once again, good day everyone.
pleasant day to you, ma'am. I am Ella Grace Viteroy, and I will be discussing about the characteristics of a green school as well as the dark green school program, Philippine environmental perspective. So first, let's start off with the characteristics. Now that we know what a green school is, so it's basically a healthy school with a healthy environment, let's talk about its characteristics. So of course, a green school is green, healthy, and high performing, which makes it very beneficial to students as well as teachers both and staffs and everyone altogether. So it protects health. Schools built with more daylighting, better ventilation. Better ventilation means that it has a great good quality air indoors, and healthy green building materials and paints are healthier for students and staff. It increases student performance. Student scores can improve when learning in green classroom because of course, green classroom, it has a very great atmosphere, diba? Because it is healthy. So mas motivate ang students na mag-do well in their academics and improve their grades. It saves energy and money. It reduces carbon emissions and it also reduces water usage. It improves teacher retention. When we say retention, it is the ability to keep or continue having something. So, bale ang mga teachers, mas ganahan sila nga mo-stay sa school. They would stay sila sa school more, mo-teach sila more because it is a green school with a green classroom. It is healthy. Siya ang atmosphere, so mas maganahan jud sila. Mo-stay jud sila. It improves daily attendance because of course, like what I just said earlier, a healthy classroom contains a good atmosphere. So, mas maganahan nga muskwila ang mga students because of that. It provides a unique educational opportunity. It creates green jobs since investing in creating green schools is an investment in green jobs. And it also improves equity, improves health and educational settings for all students, regardless of their differences and diversities. So, green schools are healthy schools with great atmosphere and healthy environment, like what I said on and on. Now that we are done with discussing the characteristics of a green school, let's move on to the dark green school program, Philippine environmental perspective. So what is a dark green school program or DGS? It is a school that delivers environmental education through assimilation of the environmental philosophy by the students in formal lessons as well as activities outside the classroom. So in simple words, it is like teaching the students all about the environment, its philosophy through formal lessons as dayon also in activities. So accordingly, it is stated here that schools must possess the following. So a school must be clean and neat as evidence of good management and housekeeping. So, very self-explanatory. Ang school, kinahanglan na siya nga clean siya and neat because of course, panayambaan nga na ay nagtagad and maayo ang mga tao nga naa sa school. Letter B, call for green spaces, appropriate land use, of course, planning conservation of materials and energy, proper waste management, of course, segregation, use of appropriate materials, and avoidance of harmful ones, and respect to others' right to a smoke-free air. So a school must really be a smoke-free air because secondhand smoking is so not okay. So have management policies and guidelines that would create a healthful and ecological campus. Have a well-planned environmental curriculum for all levels, adequately oriented and trained faculty and administrative library and financial support. Have faculty and students who are aware of and appreciate the environment program of the school. So katong mga students nga maka-appreciate sa environmental program sa mga mo-cooperate sila. Reach out to an outside community to spread concern for Mother Earth and facilitate projects and programs that improve the environment. And of course, lastly, engage in research that adds knowledge in the ways of nature and the impact of human activities. So those are Those are what a school must have or must possess. So again, in simple words, DGS or dark green school rather program is about teaching the students so they can be aware about anything regarding environmental education, and environmental philosophy through the ways of formal lessons and also through activities para mas ma-aware sila, makagain sila knowledge about that. So, I guess that is all. I am done with my report. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you understood something.
Thanks, ma'am. I am Janine H. Villarin, and I am here to discuss about ecological living practices and integrating ecological literacy into the curriculum. So, the first ecological living practices. It is based on different sets of principles. These are, or they have provided criteria for us to assess our choices and our actions. So, number one is that matter cycle continually through the web of life. So whatever it is that we are having right now, it it cycles back. So basically what we are using now will be used in the other period or the other generation. The thing that we are excreting right now, like for example the waste, it will be still evident in the next period or the next generation. The next one is most of the energy that drives the ecological cycles flow from the sun. So as we all know, the sun is the main source of energy for us as human. So basically everything or the energy that we are using right now came from the sun itself, our number one source of energy or the solar energy that we call. Number three, diversity assures resiliency. So when we are diverse or there are in ecosystem, there is diversity in ecosystem, we are resilient. Why? Because if one species or a thing lacks a something or lacks something, the other one or the other one fills in that lack. So in a way that we became resilient because we patch up whatever is missing from the other or of the other one. So when we are diverse or there are a lot of um, things that comprises our ecosystem or in our community, we are assured that whenever we lack something, there will be someone or there will be something that will fill in that lack. Then the fourth one is one species waste is another species food. So the best example of this is our waste, the human waste. Our waste, when it goes to the water or the bodies of water, or like for example the ocean, it becomes the marine life or the sea life's food. So that is why we see a lot of news about turtles eating plastics or fishes um, eating plastics because of our waste, because it has become their food for it went to the ocean or by the shore. So and we can also see like land animals here eating stuff like plastics or other human rubbish, and it has become their food. And in the brighter side, um our food waste becomes a food for those stray animals, for example dogs, cats, and um maybe in America raccoons, because they have raccoons there. So our food waste becomes their food, and it becomes staple for them too. So the fifth one or the last one is life does not take over the planet by combat but by networking. So in this world, we do not battle with each other. We do not combat with each other to survive. We do networking. So what is networking? It is exchange of ideas or information from one person to another. So we share our ideas to another person, we brainstorm with them, and that is a way that we can survive or we can take over this planet, because the only constant thing in this world is change. Our ecosystem is changing, our planet is changing, so do human need too. So human needs to change, or human needs to brainstorm with each other and talk on how to preserve human life, to make human life better and make our living livable. Um, Next point is ecological literacy enables people to comprehend the interconnectedness of the things on Earth. Whether we like it or not, humans are not the only living thing in this world or in this planet. We have animals, we have trees, we have non-living things. So when we are ecologically literate, we understand or we even comprehend the interconnectedness of us. So there is this symbiotic relationship between humans and other species living on this earth. But we as human, we have the highest, or we are the so-called rational animals. We have the capable or the capability to think. We have the capability to build something. We have the capability to interact with others in humane way. So in that way, we became or we have become the stewards of these things other than humans. Like we became the stewards of animals. We became the stewards of the earth. We became the stewards of our trees, our or other living and non-living things here on earth. Ecological excuse me. Ecological living means to live in a way that one respects and replenishes the carrying capacity of our planet. So what have happened in the past periods or the past years is that we are slowly exhausting our resources, our natural resources, and now um, we have this challenge to make it sustainable. Is that the other generation or the future generation will be able to use it too. So ecological living enables us to respect our resources, to think of ways that we can make it sustainable, that we won't lack of anything, because most of our natural resources we cannot reproduce it by our own human capabilities. These There are a lot of resources that is only can only be found in nature, and we cannot clone it. So ecological living is knowing when to use something and knowing how to respect and replenish those resources that we have, the limited resources that we have. Number two, honors our interrelatedness with all expressions of life. So there are different kinds of life in our planet. So ecological living does not only mean that we respect human beings, our or the co-humans here on Earth. We are ought to respect animals. We are ought to respect the air that we breathe. We are ought to respect the marine creatures and the crawling beasts here on Earth. So number three, enhances the qualitative aspects of our relationships. So, um, ecological living is enhancing the qualitative aspect of our relationship. So we need to um, step up or to value the quality of our life and the quality of the relationship that we have with the other living things and the non-living things here on Earth. Number four, brings forth the best of our human capacities for co-creation of an ecologically sustainable and caring world. So that is what I have been saying a while ago, that we as human, we need to make life sustainable, life livable, because we are not the only human that will be living here on Earth. There will be generations to come. So if we exhaust all of our resources, if we consume all our limited resources, what are they gonna use? So basically, we have become selfish when we exhaust everything. So um, we need to care for this planet. We need to care for this world, that so that the future generation will see the significance of caring for this planet, for this world, and that they will also carry that value, and they will do it too, maybe even do a better job than us. So that is the importance of ecological living. So according to Smith's man, there is two kinds of ecology. So there's this inner ecology and the outer ecology. So inner meaning with this within ourselves. He provided 8 points here. So number one, become a catalyst of change to help co-create a better world and future. I think that is so self-explanatory. We need to be an advocate of change that we can create a better world for our generation and for the generation to come. And not only the humans, but also the animals, the trees, or the living creatures and non-living creatures here on Earth. Number two, care for and relate with non-human beings while spending time with nature. So, um, the nicest thing or the most beautiful thing about connecting with nature is that when we go to places like no I mean like when we go to nature like field, or let's say the rural areas, we became tranquil. Our soul gets replenished. Our energy become like we are rejuvenated when we go to these places. So as human, we also need to be a safe place for these resources, for this ecosystem. We need to, as a person, we need to care and relate with these beings, with non-human beings. Like for example, our animals, our trees, our flowers. We need also to our insects. We also need to relate to them. That we in that way we can see the importance of their existence in this world. Number three, make the most of sustainability crisis that forces us to learn, dream, think, design, and relate in new ways. So, um, one thing about facing challenges is that we become wiser. So through these challenges in life, we will have the idea on how to handle this stuff for future use. So through this through this crisis that we are facing right now, we can actually think of ways. So that is wisdom. We can think of ways how to eradicate these problems, how to solve these problems, and how to prevent this problem to happen again, or rehappening of this phenomena. Number four, join the rest in the join the rest and I mean join the rest around the world in becoming agents of sustainability. So yeah, that is what I have been talking about, sustainability. That we need to be a good steward, and we need to know how to handle our limited resources, because from the word limited itself, we cannot create it again, because these are natural resources, and if we are to exhaust all of this, then we will not have an ample amount for the generation to come. Five, nurture nature by taking care of our body and becoming aware of our natural body rhythms. So when we are well, when we are in a good mood, or let's say when we are healthy holistically, we become like we become more aware of our surroundings. When we are healthy in our mental health, we think more before we do something, or like before we do actions, because there are times when we are too overwhelmed by our or by the circumstances that we have in life. We become belligerent towards almost everything, and it leads to distraction, or yeah, annihilation of ourselves and also the things that is surrounding us. Become Number six, become more energy efficient and learn to recycle our own energy. So like for example, with our electricity here in Negros Oriental, or in Dumaguete City, we are using they are geothermal. Yeah, but most of it is actually from coal. They are using it, and um the more we use the energy, the more substance that the NGCP needs to use. So we as humans, we need to preserve, we need to be environmentalist per se. We need to conserve our energy, that we will not be wasting too much, because it has become it it is becoming a problem for us, because like now we can experience multiple blackouts in a week, like minimum of 5 per week, sudden blackouts, and they need to do a lot of clearances. They need to do a lot of things for us to have this energy. But yeah, most of the humans are most of us or like most of yeah, the humans are disregarding regarding the very fact that we have also limited energy. Number seven, learn to compose our own waste and no need to dump this onto others. So one thing I have learned in when I was in elementary, we have this compost area where we throw in there our biodegradable waste, like specifically leaves. Yeah, leaves. We put it there, and there's these earthworms and other um crawling creatures that composts our trash. Our trash. So in that way, we can become kanang sustainable, and we have kanang helped these creatures too in behalf, like yeah, like what I have mentioned earlier, our waste or the one species waste becomes other species food. So our waste as humans have become a food for these composting creatures. Number eight, become aware of rights, needs, and well-beings of future generation and explore how we can support this in our own actions. So yeah, I have been mentioning the future generation quite quite a few times already. Yeah, and we as people who are living in the moment right now, we need to think of their welfare too, because we cannot just leave them with the little resource or with little resources left, because what's gonna happen is that there is a possibility that it will be exhausted, that these things will be exhausted, and they won't have much to use. So what are they gonna pass on to the other generation? So now let us move on to the outer ecology. So number one, educate ourselves about the resources that we, our family, or organization utilize to fulfill and sustain our needs. So we need to study the community that we are in, the society that we are in. We need to study the needs. Now we are now delving into sorry, integrating ecological literacy into the curriculum. So the Center of Ecoliteracy promotes variety of teaching strategies fit for students. So I have experienced this firsthand, the ecological literacy being applied in the curriculum, because like for example, the number one, plant-based learning. So in our during my elementary days, we were taught how to plant trees, how to plant stuff, or how to plant plants, specifically those that are good for consumption, like for example, vegetables and fruits. So um, our curriculum nowadays uh, gives activity like, for example, tree planting. In our NSTP, we are asked to plant 30 trees, either fruit-bearing or non-bearing, as long as it provides shade. So that is one good example of the plant-based learning. It does not, the learning does not just revolve within the classroom setup, but also involves outer or our community, or it involves our community, our interaction with our community. Number two, project-based learning. So here in project-based learning, teachers are facilitators of the learning. So teachers give projects to the students that are um, connected to the idea of ecological literacy. And yeah, we were once given a project. An example of this is, for example, giving the teacher will give their students their plan in how to live a sustainable life, or how to um, be resilient in with our resources. Or for example, the teacher will ask a student to do a skit play or project. No, I think the skit play won't work. But for example, he or she or the teacher will give his or her students um, a project mm, that is related to ecological or ecoliteracy. Number three, Socratic inquiry. So it came from this Greek philosopher Socrates. So here, Socrates believed that question stimulates learning. Um, a lot of students actually are very curious. Most of them are in their curiosity stage. So we as teachers, um, when these students inquire or they have questions, we supply them our inputs or our takes on this stuff, that we can guide them or we can share our knowledge and they can use it too. So in Socratic inquiry, they can question most of their question is into life. Yeah, into life, because um for us, BSED or secondary, we are already preparing these children or this youth for womanhood or manhood. So we need to be practical in giving them advices, giving them inputs, giving them wisdom, or giving them a piece of our knowledge. So number four, experiential learning, involvement in the real world, and learning is active and a continuous process. So in life, we experience um a lot of things, right? A lot of events have happened in our life, and through these experiences, we can relate it to the near future. Like for example, we can decide on things better because we know and we have experienced or we have seen the consequence, because there are two consequences, the bad and a good consequence. So if we do something or we have experienced um things and now we are experiencing new ones, and our actions or our response to that experience or the response of that current event in our life will determine the consequence that we will have. So in the experiential learning, teachers makes or let the students experience something that they can use it in the near future. Like for example, our work immersion um as students when we were in senior high school. So we were our teachers let us experience work. And for me, I was assigned in the finance department, since St. Paul University did not let us go to another company or other institution. We just stayed in St. Paul, or at St. Paul. So I was assigned in finance. So I was I've seen the receipts. I've seen papers, and I have arranged those papers in order. And yeah, those that experience of mine will help me learn, or like help me do things in the real world, or like, let's say, the job, or like when we are working already, when we will work in the near future. So the last one is interdisciplinary learning. It is the connection between disciplines. So interdisciplinary, that means it is not just one, but a multiple, or like, for example, two disciplines. Like, for example, in science, we can, like, for example, in chemistry, there is also math and chemistry. So there is interdisciplinary between the subject. Um, TLE, or technology, livelihood, and yeah, technology, livelihood, education, and araling panlipunan. So in araling panlipunan, we tackle a lot of social issues, and one of the social issues is economy. So in TLE, we are taught on works or vocational works that we can use, or we can do to eradicate the poverty in our lives, or we can use it to up or lift we can use it to lift our economy, our personal economy, or the state of finances that we have. So I think that would be all for my report.